All right, so here is an argument down at the bottom right-hand corner. All M are P, some S are M, therefore all S are P. So what we're going to do is we're going to diagram this syllogism onto these Venn diagrams. So let's start with the first premise. All M are P. So that means anything that's in the category of M here is also in the category of P, which means there's nothing in the category of M that's not also contained in the category of P. So to map that premise, we need to do this. Block out anything that's in the M category that's not also in the P category. All right, let's try the second premise. The second premise says some S are M, right? So again, to represent the particular statements, those statements in the form of some S are P or some S are not P, those statements we represent with an asterisk that in the intersection of the two sets. So some S are M, that means there's something that's in the category of S that's also in the category of M. And when we put the asterisk here, it means that that thing that's an S and also an M is also a P, because you see it's in the category of P here. And that's all right. We can do that because from the first premise, which tells us that anything that is an M is thereby a P, right? And since the second premise is saying that there is something that is an S and an M, right? Therefore, anything that is in the category of M is also in the category of P. We know that from the first premise. So this is how you, so this is on the left, we've got the two premises mapped. So now we need to do the conclusion. The conclusion says some S are not P. So how will that look? Well, again, to diagram a particular statement using some, into our Venn diagram, we use an asterisk. And we want to say that there's something that is an S that is not a P. And actually, I have put that in the wrong place. Where it goes is right here. So there's something that is an S, so that is in the S category, but that's not in the P category, right? So here. So now at this point, we've completed diagramming the two premises of the syllogism and the conclusion of the syllogism. So now we want to ask how our diagram shows that the argument is valid or invalid. And the answer to that is that this particular argument is invalid. And why? Because the conclusion contains information not already contained in the premises. Right? So as far as we know from the premises, right, we know that there is something that is an S and that is also an M and is also, as I explained, thereby a P, right? But our conclusion tells us something further. Our conclusion says there's also something that is, whoops, this should be here, sorry. There we go. The conclusion tells us that there is something that is an S and is not a P, right? And that is information that's not already contained in the premises, right? The premise, for example, says that there's something that is an S and that is a P, right? The conclusion tells us there's something that is an S but that is not a P. And that is a new claim. That's something that we can't tell from the premises, right? And when that happens, right, if you've got new information that's in the conclusion that's not already contained in the premises, that means that the argument is invalid. That's how the Venn diagram shows that the argument is invalid.